After 10 years of being the head coach of the Denver Nuggets, today, Shams dropped the shocking news that the Nuggets ownership had chosen to fire Michael Malone, later followed by the news that general manager Calvin Booth had also been fired. It's no secret that the Nuggets front office has mismanaged the roster throughout Calvin Booth's 5-year stint with Denver. As with every new year, it seems that they have found a new way to consistently miss in the draft and fail to surround Jokic with any concrete talent. Over Jokic's 10-year career, he has still yet to play with an All-Star, making him one of very few stars to consistently have to carry the load of a team all by himself. And while players like Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. have had patches of good form and excellence, it has not been enough to sustain a dependable level of play. While Jokic's counting stats have been incredible over the past 5 years, in terms of advanced stats, Jokic's impact on the game has been nothing short of historical. He has sustained a 19.5 on and off plus minus or greater over the last 4 years, as well as possessing the highest EPM over 3 of the last 4 years, highlighting the stellar level of play he has been able to sustain over the past 4 years. However, this brings about the Denver Nuggets' greatest issue. Throughout Jokic's tenure, the clear lack of any serviceable backup center has been painful to watch for all NBA fans, with Jokic adding an estimated 44, 52, 51, and 45 wins over the last 4 years. Without Jokic on the floor this season, the Nuggets have had a net rating of minus 10.14, good enough for the second worst net rating amongst NBA teams, only ranking ahead of the painfully bad 17-61 tanking Washington Wizards at negative 12.1. Ever since the departure of Mason Plumlee in 2020, the Nuggets have had JaVale McGee, DeAndre Jordan, and Zeke Naji backing him up at center, representing only one of the many failures of Calvin Booth. Outside of a miraculous 2023 run that saw the Nuggets face some of the weakest competition in NBA history, coming up against an 8 seed, 4 seed, 7 seed, and 8 seed, Calvin Booth and the Nuggets front office have continually failed to put a cohesive team around what is now considered to be the best player in the world, facing consistent playoff defeat, being swept by the Suns in round 2 in 2021, destroyed by Golden State in round 1 of the 2022 playoffs, and choking a 20-point lead in Game 7 against the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2024, marking failure after failure for what could potentially be a 4-time league MVP and one of the greatest defensive talents of all time. However, this coaching and management malpractice seems to have reached a peak in the 2024-25 season, where Calvin Booth once again settled for the bare minimum, with DeAndre Jordan once again signing a vet minimum with the Nuggets, as the front office showed no effort to sign a competent backup center to provide value in non-Jokic minutes. This would just be the beginning, as the Nuggets announced that they had signed free agent Russell Westbrook to a 2-year $6.8 million deal. The most head-scratching decision that the now ex-GM made was to not resign Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, as the essential part of the Nuggets' core departing would leave a significant gap in point-of-attack defense that the Nuggets would not be able to get back before the commencement of the 2024-25 season. As this offseason once again marked another year of just relying on the star power of Jokic to try to win games, highlighting the complacency of the front office and coaching staff, with both the Lakers and Clippers both experiencing little success with their own individual Westbrook experiments. Nuggets fans started the season off with a hopeful optimism, where for the most part, Westbrook met their expectations, until recently, things started to turn.
Conley to Anthony Edwards, Gordon is there, and he threw it away. It's a turnover, 2-on-1, Brown, Westbrook, no! Rebound Alexander Walker, final seconds, here we go. Conley the other way, Edwards looks at the clock, drives, feeds, forwards.
What started as letting Westbrook be Westbrook had evolved into a disaster for a third time for a third consecutive NBA team, where with just 5 games left in the NBA season, the Nuggets had slid from the 2nd seed to the 4th seed following a 4-game losing streak, with the potential to continue to fall into the play-in, despite the fact that Jokic had perhaps had the best defensive year on record. On Tuesday, March 1st, Jokic recorded one of the greatest stat lines of all time, 61 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists, marking only the third 60-point triple-double in NBA history, where in a game where the Nuggets held a 6-point lead with just 1 minute and 48 seconds left in overtime, A late-game catastrophe would seal a 140-139 loss to the Timberwolves in double overtime. On the 4th of March, Jokic would record 33 points, 12 rebounds, and 9 assists against the Golden State Warriors on a ridiculous 13 of 17 shooting. However, a 12-point lead early would evaporate, with the Warriors controlling the rest of the game, where 5 points on 2 from 9 shooting from Russell Westbrook would act as a catalyst for the Nuggets' loss. Just 2 days later, an incredible 41 point, 15 rebound, and 13 assist performance would punctuate a 125-120 loss against the Indiana Pacers, with an all-time great stat line being once again wasted, an 11-point lead turning into another L, as late-game turnovers and indecision led to the 4th loss in a row for the Nuggets, joining the glut of Western Conference teams, all on 32 losses from 4th to 8th in the Western Conference standing. However, these stat lines achieved in losses were no coincidence, instead being a common theme throughout the Nuggets season, which takes us to April 8th, where the Nuggets ownership have announced the dismissal of both Calvin Booth and Michael Malone, marking the end of an era bookmarked by underperformance and failure, as the ownership no longer felt confident that Denver could win a championship under the current circumstances.
Why are they deciding to do this now?
That's the biggest component to this, is you're days away from the NBA playoffs beginning. And my understanding is they felt kind of like the Grizzlies did with the departure of Taylor Jenkins, is igniting this team. They've lost 4 games in a row. They're now in the bottom half in the league in defensive rating. And so they felt like the signs were there that this season was not going to end well. And if you were going to make this decision at the end of the season to let go of Michael Malone and Calvin Booth and do a full reset, they're getting out ahead of what they felt they were going to do come the offseason.
Will this late season change be enough to reinvigorate the Nuggets for a second championship run? Or will we once again be forced to ask ourselves how Denver came up short once again with the best player in the world on their roster? Comment what you think down below, and please like and subscribe if you enjoyed.